Welcome to Sleep with Myth. Close your eyes and let the world fade away. Tonight we drift beyond time, where gods dream and stories remember their light. Before the stars there was silence. Before the silence there was breath. And before breath there was chaos. Not the chaos of noise or fire, but a boundless, sleeping stillness. It had no name, no shape, no beginning, for beginnings had not yet been invented. In that endless dark, thought flickered for the first time. It was not yet light, only the memory of what light could be. Chaos dreamed, and within that dream, shadows moved. They had no form, but they longed for meaning. From that longing Erebus was born, the shadow that wished to become night. And beside him came Nyx, a whisper of silence so deep that even nothing bowed to her. They danced through the void, their motion creating the first rhythm. And from rhythm came pulse, and from pulse came time. Chaos, dreaming, felt its stillness break, and in the cracks a spark began to rise. That spark became ether, the light that remembered itself even within the dark. And with him came Hemera, the day that followed where none had ever been before. The first dawn did not come with sun, nor with sound, but with awareness. The universe awoke from its own slumber, stretching like a child who had forgotten it was infinite. And chaos whispered, "I am no longer alone." The stars were not yet born, but their promise lived in the breath between light and shadow. Creation was a thought learning to become word. And through that thought, the first heartbeat echoed, soft, vast, and eternal. When chaos opened its dream wide enough for thought to echo, the emptiness began to hum. That hum became vibration, the first song. It rippled through the void like breath upon still water. From the echoes of that song, new shapes began to rise. They were not born, not created, they simply were, pulled from possibility into being. Erebus and Nyx drifted through the endless sea of sleep, their shadows folding into one another, birthing twilight. From their union came Hypnos, the whisper of rest, and Thanatos, the stillness that follows. Their laughter rolled through the dark like slow thunder. Where Hypnos brushed the void, worlds softened into dream. Where Thanatos passed, silence grew fertile, waiting for life to bloom once more. And chaos watched them, not with eyes, but with the awareness of a dream learning what it means to feel. For the first time, the cosmos knew contrast. Light desired shadow, sound hungered for quiet, existence longed for its reflection. And through that longing, reality found its balance. From the breath of ether came wind. From the heart of Erebus came weight. Where they met, the first horizon stretched, a line dividing all that was from all that could be. And across that horizon, the faintest spark shimmered. It was neither light nor dark, but something between. The universe exhaled again, and from that breath came Gaia, the body of the world. She opened her eyes in the emptiness and saw her reflection, floating above her, endless, unshaped, eternal. And she named it Uranus, the sky that would one day cradle her. Their meeting was the first embrace, The void trembled, and creation took its first step from dream into form. But as chaos watched its children weave, it felt something stir within the stillness once more. A deeper shadow that whispered not of birth, but of return. For even in creation's first sigh, the seed of ending had already been sown. From the breath of chaos, the world began to remember shape. Gaia and Uranus held one another in the silence between stars. Earth and sky, weight and vastness, meeting at the horizon that neither could cross. Their love was gravity, their touch the first law. From their embrace came motion, and from motion came life. Mountains rose where passion burned. Rivers formed from tears of joy and grief alike. The void that had once known only sleep began to dream in color. The first beings were born of this union. The Titans, vast and radiant. They were neither gods nor mortals, but echoes of the forces that made them. Oceanus rolled with the endless tide. Hyperion carried the first sunrise upon his shoulders, and Thea scattered starlight across the unshaped heavens. Each Titan was a memory made flesh, a thought given voice. But with each creation came reflection, and reflection invited resistance. Beneath the stillness, chaos stirred again. It had dreamed form, but now form dreamed itself separate. Creation had found its mirror, and in that mirror it saw its shadow. The universe trembled softly, as if realizing that every act of creation was also an act of loss. Gaia, feeling the weight of her children, looked to the stars and whispered, "Even love must learn to release." And somewhere beyond sight, in the deepest fold of night, chaos smiled, for even endings were a kind of beginning. The world had grown vast. Its silence now carried the rhythm of time, the slow pulse of mountains, the sigh of waves against the edge of eternity. The Titans walked upon Gaia's skin, their steps carving valleys, their laughter echoing as storms. They were beautiful and terrible, born of both love and inevitability. Cronus, the youngest, watched the horizon where sky met earth. He saw Uranus stretched above them, endless and proud, and felt within him the ache of something new, doubt. For Uranus loved Gaia, but feared her children. He called them too powerful, too wild, too near to the source. And so he buried them, deep within her, into the caverns beneath her heart, where they cried like thunder waiting to be born. Gaia wept oceans. Her tears became rivers. Her sorrow, the moon's reflection upon endless seas. She whispered to Cronus, the only one who still dared to listen. "My son," she said, "to be born is to rise. To rise, something must fall." And Cronus understood. From her grief, she forged a blade, a sickle of adamantine light, sharp as truth. She placed it in his trembling hands, and the sky above shivered. When Uranus descended once more to hold the earth, Cronus waited. The stars dimmed, the air stilled, and in a single motion, the sun severed the Father's hold. The heavens split apart, and night bled into being. Uranus's cry became the sound of wind for all eternity, and from his blood upon the soil, New life stirred, the Furies, the giants, and the first echo of vengeance. Cronus stood over the horizon he had created, watching day and night circle one another for the first time. He felt power within him, and fear, for he had learned that to create one must destroy. Chaos, dreaming still, whispered from beyond the stars, "This, too, is the song of beginnings." The world entered its age of peace. The Titans ruled from mountains crowned with fire and mist, their voices shaping rivers, their dreams stirring the seasons. Cronus sat upon his golden throne, time itself bending to his will. No death, no hunger, no decay, for under his rule all things slept in balance. The mortals, if they could be called such, wandered freely upon Gaia's green skin, their hearts untouched by fear, their eyes unburdened by night, yet even stillness breeds shadow. Cronus, who had once cast down the sky, now feared his own reflection, his children, for Gaia's whispers reached him once more. "As you rose, so too shall they." He saw his sons and daughters, bright, curious, restless, and felt the slow turning of fate behind his calm. Sleep began to lose its sweetness. Time began to measure itself. To stop the future, Cronus devoured it. One by one, the newborn gods vanished into his shadow. Hestia, Demeter, Hera, Hades, Poseidon, until only silence remained. But fate does not yield to hunger. Rhea, his queen, hid her final child, wrapping a stone in swaddling cloth, and giving it to her husband as a lie. Far away, in a cave upon the breast of the world, the child slept beneath the hum of destiny. He was not yet thunder, not yet king, but within him stirred rebellion, and the memory of fire. Chaos watched through the cracks between worlds, and smiled once more, for even in peace the dream must change its shape. Far beneath the whispering mountains, the hidden child dreamed. He dreamed of thunder and trembling skies, of a world that longed to open its eyes. Rhea watched in silence, her heart torn between fear and faith. She had hidden her son from the devourer of time, hoping that someday light would return to the heavens. And so, from the cradle of stone, Zeus awoke. Lightning remembered its name. The sky trembled as if recognizing its lost heart. And the first sound Zeus ever made was the roar of awakening. He rose young, burning, eternal. His strength was not wrath but balance, the voice of creation reminding chaos of its limits. The sea answered his call, the mountains bent, and the heavens split open in song. When he faced Cronus, it was not as a son facing his father, but as the dream facing its shadow. The storm raged for what felt like eternity. Stars fell, rivers burned, the air itself seemed to pray, and when all was done, Cronus fell into the same sleep he once imposed. From his fall, time itself began to move again. One by one, the swallowed gods returned, each carrying a spark of eternity, each remembering what it meant to be free. Zeus stood beneath the newborn sky, his eyes filled with the reflection of dawn. The age of titans had ended, and the age of gods had begun. But above it all, chaos stirred softly, watching, waiting, for even creation dreams of its end, and every god will one day return to sleep. Thank you for listening to Sleep with Myth.